Are the publicly bet Lions going to live up to expectations? Is Kirk Cousins and the Vikings going to keep winning those one-score games, or is Jordan Love going to step in and take over the shoes that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers left behind? Or is Justin Highlight Film Fields going to step up and shock the world and take over the NFC North? Well, there's only one way to find out. Stick around. This is the Shred the Spread podcast.
All right, here we go.
So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return.
Deshaun Jackson gets a block! Are you kidding?
Way downtown. Oh, what a shot from Curry!
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Welcome to the Shred the Spread podcast, your home for all your NFL sports betting needs. I'm your host, Jared, back for season 2. Hope you guys missed us because we missed you guys. And here we go. We got me and my right-hand man, Dynell, Dyneasy Toppin, back for season 2.
We
man,
back.
I missed you, man. How you feeling, brother?
Man, I feel good. It feels good to actually get a training camp and a preseason in, to start the podcast, ever join in the middle of the season. So this is definitely going to be great for us. This is going to be a great start. I'm actually excited. I mean, like I said, the first time I go around was definitely kind of a feel-out process, but I'm ready to dominate this podcast game this year, man. So let's go ahead and get it started.
Yeah, for those of you guys who are new, we started last year, roughly in the middle of the season. We started this all for fun. We got really hot. I did the math. We went 71.6% against the spread. That is unreal. You make profit about 55%. We're roughly 16% over that. So for those of you guys who were tailing our picks last year, we obviously made some money. We are going to be here for the entirety of this season. We're starting this week. We are going to be releasing all of the NFC divisions. We're going to be going through each team, going through the divisional odds, the win totals, and much more. We're going to dig into some stuff. We're going to do this all the way leading up to week 1. And then for those of you guys who've been around, you know how we do. We do the preview. And then we give our picks roughly on Friday or Saturday. So we're going to hop right into it. We've been itching for this. The summer couldn't go by fast enough. And it's almost football season. I know I'm ready to make some money. Dino, how you feeling?
Man, I feel great, baby. Like I said, I'm ready to make some money too, man. Trust me. Rent due every goddamn month. So we need to be ready, baby. And I'm ready for football season already. I know everybody else is. So yeah, let's go ahead, man. Let's get started, bro. Let's get it popping.
All right. So we're going to start with the NFC North. As you can tell, this division is somewhat wide open. We've got the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears. In reality, each of these teams have a realistic shot to win this division. Says in the odds, we have no team that is, obviously the Lions are favored, but they're not that much favored. Obviously, they have the shortest odds to win, but they're still having a plus sign in front of there. So we'll just go ahead and start with the Lions since they're the betting favorite for this division. They're plus 145 to win the division, and the win total is set at 9.5. You guys know, me and Dynell, we love Motor City Dan Campbell. We love the Lions. We bet the Lions a lot last year. They did great for us. They made us some money, but we're sitting at 9.5 wins after Jared Goff just probably played the best season of his career since that Super Bowl run with the Rams. I personally do not see how I could take an over on this Lions team. I mean, this is the first time in almost 30 years that the Lions have sold out season tickets before the season has started, which is wild. So obviously the fans are expecting a good team. I do see the Lions sitting around 8 and 9 wins. I just don't know if I can click that over button for this Lions win total. What are you thinking, Dino?
Nah, double digits? Nah. With all disrespect, I actually like Jared Goff. The offense was definitely popping early on. Ramon St. Brown. Then of course you had Jamal Williams at the time. He just departed this past season, so that takes away from your production. DeAndre Swift just departed from this season, so that takes away from your production, man. So you're basically relying on Jahmyr Gibbs, a rookie that you drafted. Looks solid, looks really good in the preseason to start out so far. Looks good in training camp, but that's a question mark, and that's definitely a question mark. A lot of that production on offense definitely relied on Jamal Williams inside the goal line, 1 yard line, racking up touchdowns, finishing off drives. So we're gonna see, but I feel like they're gonna come up a little bit short. Like you said, the 9.5 is definitely kind of steep for a team that honestly has the same 3 questions every year. Can you win a playoff? Can you get to the playoffs since 2016? Can you win a playoff game since 1991? And you haven't won a division since 1993. So
yeah.
So let's put it in that perspective. You have a division winner usually wins around 10 wins. I love to believe it. I have Detroit in good spirits and good heart. I really like this team, but I don't see them getting over 9, getting to at least 10 wins. I don't see it.
Yeah, the problem with betting the lines in any aspect is just there's no value. You're not getting a great number on divisional odds, and they have some serious competition, as we'll talk about later. And they lost some really key players. So I mean, obviously Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift both departing. I mean, those were really big factors in those games. So the Lions are definitely going to be an entertaining team to watch. But I think Dynell and I both agree that there's just really no value in any of these numbers. And it's not even kind of worth it taking the under because we know this team can get hot. They string across some wins. This team plays with heart, but I think the really big question mark is there's going to be more pressure on the passing offense, on the offense. So Jared Goff's going to have to, maintain that ability to, move the ball downfield because, they really took a shot with Gibbs and such a high pick. And, a lot of the league was surprised when he went that high, but the GM sticking to his guns, he said, we would have took him earlier if he was, if we were picking earlier. So we'll see how that pans out. But let's go ahead and move to the second favorite in the division, the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to let you take this over, but I'm just going to say this was the luckiest team in football last year. I wish you could put a numerical statistic on it as to how lucky they actually were to give my thought process some meaning. But help me out here.
There is one statistic. I mean, you brought it up in the beginning of the show, and all those one possession games, all those late games they won. I mean, what was it in the double digits? They had 13
10-0
wins
on one possession or one score games.
Exactly my point. You win 13 games last season, and 10 of your games became within one possession. And we all know what happened with all those possessions against the Buffalo Bills.
Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started.
If it wasn't for Josh Allen fumbling, what? That still to this day was probably the luckiest shit I've ever seen. It was meant for the Vikings to win the division that year. So I give them props. I don't see them winning double digit one possession games again and again and again like they did last year. The over and the under is that set at 8.5. I project them. I was looking at the schedule. I project them to go about 9 and 8 around that range. So honestly, I would play the over. Over 8.5. I do feel like for 8.5 for a division winner, that is kind of low, but I kind of get the reason why. But I'm not. I just want to take advantage of the number. I would actually go over on the 8.5. And like I said, if you're talking about a team he won a division for the first time since 2017. Granted, Aaron Rodgers is not in the division no more. Right? You don't have to worry about him no more. You're worrying about an up-and-coming Justin Fields and a steady, not a steady and consistent Jared Goff. So I see them getting over 8.5. As far as repeating the division winners, I don't know about that either. And like I said, me and Jared both agree when it comes to this point too, man. When you have that many wins in one possession games, that usually doesn't last and transfer over to the next season. So it's going to be kind of hard for me to. I mean, let's be honest, they do have a realistic shot. I mean, they won last year, and Aaron Rodgers is no longer in the division. When Aaron Rodgers is no longer in the division, you always have a shot. But personally, I don't see this team in the division again, but I can definitely see them getting over 8.5 wins.
Yeah, this line says it all. This team is due for regression. Those 10-0 and one score games says it all. This number is all the way down in 8.5. So not only does Vegas is basically solidifying that this is going to be a competitive division because 9.5, 8.5, 7.5, 7.5 are all the win totals. So we're looking at about 500 records here. But I mean, I agree with you. I think I got the Vikings probably around 9 wins, but they didn't re-sign Kirk Cousins for a reason. So it depends on how this ship starts afloat because if they start out 0-2, 0-3, do they start selling and just take a back seat and try to move on from Kirk and attacking the draft because this team's in a really weird situation. They lost Dalvin Cook.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a completely different identity. And, and don't get me wrong, Alexander Mattison, I think is a beast. He takes over the game just like Dalvin Cook did. A little bit more of a physical runner, not as fast, but this team is really going to have a different identity. I mean, the really thing that's carrying this team is they have probably the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
And, if we remember all those lucky Kirk Cousins toss-ups with, about to get sacked, and Justin Jefferson, there he is every single time to bail him out. So, this team is definitely on the luckier side. There's definitely going to be some regression. Again, kind of with the Lions situation, I just don't see any value. So, I really don't have a play there, but I do lean a little bit on the over wins. But like I said, it's hard to say that because we really got to see how this ship starts at the beginning of the season.
Exactly.
So let's move on.
One thing I would want to bring up too is that defense last year was abysmal. So that alone with offensive still trying to it's basically riding the coattails of Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. And like I said, we're going to see what Alexander Madison does, but it's going to be different. So you're most certainly right. We're going to definitely see
100%. So let's move on to the Green Bay Packers.
Cheeseheads.
Plus 350 to win the division, 7.5 wins. I mean, I know what a lot of people are, they're beating the drum of. They cannot keep getting away with this. They cannot keep drafting these quarterbacks. They step in and they have a Hall of Fame resume. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. What are the odds that Jordan Love steps in and he just, starts demolishing this division? Truthfully, this is my favorite team for this division. They have the most complete roster up and down. They have the best offensive line in the division, obviously pending, David Bakhtiari's health. But even when he wasn't in there, they were still pushing for that run game. They got the best 1-2 punch in football with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Granted, they lost Alan Lazard, but we saw what Christian Watson was doing. He draws double teams at the end of the year. I mean, this team is just solidified. Plus 350 to win the division is ridiculous for the Packers. We got to remember, this team's identity is really raw. They will run the ball down your throat, and they just need Jordan Love to manage the game. And we got to remember, he is a mobile quarterback with a strong arm. That's what wins in this league now. Jordan Love can get outside the pocket. He's going to be a little bit more of a dynamic player than Aaron Rodgers was his last year. And let's be real, we're getting plus 350, and Aaron Rodgers played correct me if I'm wrong, but he played like shit last year. So honestly, we're not even asking Jordan Love to fill huge shoes because the Packers, besides the Vikings, I mean, the Packers had a chance to really take over, but they just could not scramble wins together towards the end of the season. I think plus 350 is way too big of a number. And we're sitting at 7.5 wins. I've got the Packers at 8.6 wins on average. So I got them a whole win over this total. I just think they're getting really disrespected since Aaron Rodgers left, and he didn't even leave on the right foot. He was struggling with this team. I really think they're going to get behind their two-headed monster of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, and they're just going to run the ball down team's throats, and they just need Jordan Love to manage the game. So that's what I'm thinking. I like the Packers to win this division, and I love the over for the total wins. What do you got?
Man, boy, they say great minds think alike, right? This is by far, like Jared, before you even said that, this was by far my favorite pick of the season as far as when it comes to teams in the division-wise, because they are so overlooked. It's ridiculous. Like you said, that team from the top down, O-line, I mean, you have inexperienced receivers, I get that. Robert Tonyan also exited last year, but you also drafted Luke Musgrave. He looks like a decent tight end from the draft. Luke Van Ness comes in to kind of help put some pressure on defense. And that's what they do. First round picks, what do? They draft defensive players because they sure as hell didn't draft offensive player when Aaron Rodgers was there. So that's going to help that defense even more, which is going to help Jordan Love, especially with field position. If that defense continues to play well like they have been and get good position for Jordan Love, watch out. This team can definitely bite. They can definitely bite. Christian Watson, definitely a stud. Romeo Doubs, he's all right, a little bit inconsistent, but he's getting there. He's in his second year. I am very excited. For this team at plus 350. Yes, sir. That's the money. That's money talking right there, boy. For this value right here, that's money talking.
Yeah. And, I saw this number and I was just like, gosh, it just doesn't make sense. And, I was digging into a little bit more and, the number varies. Plus 350. I've seen it all the way up to plus 425, 430 in some places. Mm-hmm. So, obviously do your due diligence and shop around. We're using FanDuel odds, for this purpose, just to be consistent. But, I saw a little nugget that I don't know if you saw. I kind of had to dig for this. So I was looking at some of the strength of schedule and, the biggest thing that was really trying to determine how much of a sizable wager I wanted to place on the Packers to win the division was basically on David Bakhtiari staying healthy.
Right.
And, I was like, what is the one thing that a new quarterback struggles with? Pass rush. Mm-hmm. He's got to read the pass rush.
Right.
The Packers strength of schedule are facing on average, the schedule full year, the 32nd ranked pass rush. Overall.
Ooh, what a fun, baby. What a fun.
So you're telling me a rookie quarterback is on average going to face the weakest pass rush over the course of an NFL season in a division where it's wide open and you're giving me plus 50? There's just too much value there.
Yeah, let me drop this into you too. Those first 6 games they play against non-playoff teams that didn't make the playoffs last season. So that's definitely a good start for a rookie quarterback as well.
Yeah, and there's so much hedge potential here. If you take the Packers right now, they start off hot. Then really, when it gets down to the end of the season, these divisional games at the end of the year, you could technically hedge your bet. You can bet on the other team to win. You could take the other team to take the spread. You can do what you want to do, but you're starting the year off with so much value. You have so much wiggle room, and obviously place your later division winners, futures in the middle of the season before the cutoff. But you're getting such a large number here. You have so many ways to take this approach. So I mean, Dynell hit it. I hit it. Packers plus 350. Way too much value.
See, this is why you my dog. That's why you my dog.
We're starting off hot. Hopefully people don't clip this and bites us in the ass later. And Jordan Love is leading the league in interceptions. But anyway, so let's not speak that shit into existence. We got the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields has looked really good in training camp. Reports are he is calling the plays at the line. He doesn't need it called in his ear and regurgitated to his team. So he's really taking that next step. People are saying he's in the facility 24/7. He's sleeping there some days. Come on now. I know Justin Fields is a talent, but this team, obviously with the DJ Moore acquisition, that's huge. Chase Claypool there. But I mean, they picked up some linebackers. Obviously signing those linebackers makes zero sense now because they traded Roquan Smith right to the Ravens. He gets signed. So, what was the whole idea there? This team has been drafting kind of poorly. They've been drafting a lot of older players out of college, seniors, and, players have been there for 4 or 5 years. Like, it's been weird, but obviously they're kind of finding their footing now. And the Chicago Bears plus 430 is definitely enticing, but I think it's just a year too early. I could be getting bit in the ass here, and Justin Fields just kind of takes over this division because we did see prime time last year against the Patriots. He took over in that fourth quarter and won that game. But I just feel like there's too many question marks with this team. And obviously, I know, Justin Fields last year just showed how much of a highlight, reel he was. Mm-hmm. But that's just not consistent to me. Like, this roster top down has a lot of weak spots. Their line had, I think, the third least sacks in football. They weren't getting pressures on the quarterback. They weren't turning the ball over.
This was terrible.
I don't know. Like, you're telling me I'm getting 80 cents better for the Packers for a team that I think is, a time and a half better just because they're so much more seasoned and solidified, and they're returning a lot of these players. I don't know. The Bears it's 7.5 wins. I could see it. I got them around 8 wins, but that's in a lot of coin flip games. Like, this division is going to be competitive, and I don't know. I think I like the Packers too much to it's making me a little bit biased against the Bears.
Yeah, like I said, me. I love that Packers play too. To go with that over under, like I said, my projections, because I kind of went through some of the games, not all the teams, but certain teams. I kind of look at the schedule. My range for the Bears is between 6 and 8. So, so the value is like right around that 7.5 range. So, Vegas with a good play there. Like you said, I could see over. I could also see under. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like a toss up. Like you said, why would so you're talking about an 80-cent difference for the Packers to win the division compared to the Chicago Bears? The Packers are definitely more set up compared to the Chicago Bears. And I get everybody's excitement for Justin Fields, but can we just pump it just a little bit? Just a little bit. I mean, you talking about, like, even Dan Orlovsky on ESPN's talking about he's going to have MVP type like numbers, 35 touchdowns, 4,000 passing yards. Slow down. You're basically telling the man to basically double his passing yards from last year. He only had 2,200 passing yards last year. and we're talking about a coach. Yeah. And I think the best thing for him right now is the fact that not only does he have this influx of weapons, because he definitely got DJ Moore, I don't know, on top of that group, but to turn around and, and to have Matt, Eberflus, I don't know I forgot what his first name is, Eberflus, the coach there, to go into his second year, that kind of helps the familiarity of the offense. It helps with familiarity of the system, how things is ran. Hey, we gonna see. But like you said, a lot of holes. You basically, like I said, are you trying to rebuild or are you trying to compete? You let go of David Montgomery, but you sign Dante Foreman and Travis Homer. You let go of, like you said, you let go of Roquan Smith, but you sign Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. What are you trying to do? So they got some questions to see, and I guess all of our questions will be solved here soon once we see him out and play.
Yeah, I mean, this division probably has the most, opportunity for any team to take it. I mean, if I think we can agree that if you really want the value, you gotta look at these bottom 2 teams. You gotta look at the Packers and the Bears.
Yep.
Just because the Packers have the roster, the Bears have the quarterback. You really don't know. Kirk Cousins, believe it or not, I think he's like 35 now. That's crazy to think about.
God, jeez.
And then you have Jared Goff, who just played the best season of his career. And, it's like Do these teams stay that consistent? Probably not. There's going to be some regression towards the mean, and then you have the Packers and the Bears that's sitting at the bottom. So I think the Packers and the Bears, Dynell hit, he hit it too. That's where the value is. They're the teams where if you want to take a shot in this division, you got to take the value because there really is nothing you can do with plus 145 on the lines. And the Vikings, who knows what their identity is going to be come week 5-6. So yeah, so I think that wraps up for the NFC North. Check out the other episodes coming out for the division winners. They'll be posted soon. We'll go through the rest of the NFC, and then next week you guys will get some taste of the AFC. We got a couple good ones for you. So thanks for tuning in. This has been the first episode for season 2 back on the Shred the Spread podcast. We'll see you guys in the next one. Dynell and I, we're out.
Peace.